So if you see that we've got documents in for the day, the homework usually will be homework wise, but the things that sometimes we have during the day, we might not get to, okay? So our main idea today is we are going to try to figure out, we're going to look at the Lewis and Clark expedition today. It's actually a really good text, and it's going to talk about how the United States actually expanded. And we are going to look at sentence frame. So our main goal today is to look at the main ideas, okay? So first, I have these 3 images, okay? And I want you in the chat, okay, to everybody, to write down, so my question for you guys is, what does each of these photographs show us about the people in it, okay? So I've got 3 photographs here. I've got FIFA. So if you follow the World Cup, this is the Brazil national beach soccer team. I have a family eating a meal, and I have a 4th of July picture, okay? And I want you to just look at those pictures. When you talk about it in the chat, I'm gonna write an example. Maybe I'm talking about the 4th of July. Okay, so I'm gonna write which picture, and I want you to write down, so actually here, I'm gonna go 4th of July. So if you look in the chat, I'm giving you the example, 4th of July, and I'm going to put in a sentence. I'm gonna use one of these sentences. And I'm gonna write, this makes me wonder, or this makes me think that there's only specific colors. These questions or these sentences can be whatever you want, you guys. Right now, what we're gonna do is we are just going to observe and look at these photos, and I want you to wonder, or I want you to think, or I want you to have a question about it. And there's no wrong answer. Okay, so tell me which photo, and I want you to tell me something about it. This makes me think that. This makes me wonder. Okay, and I want you to use that sentence though. So some people are writing other things. I want you to use that beginning part of the sentence. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write 1 or 2 or even 3 things about the photos, okay? So write in the chat. So I'm just going to pick a couple of these and read them out loud. You guys are really, this is awesome, you guys. Great job. So somebody talked about the 4th of July. Oh, that was me. Somebody's talking about the family. They said laughing and passing food, and they are thinking that maybe there's a grandma. Okay. Somebody is talking about, this makes me think that they're spending time together and celebrating something. Ooh, we could say that about a couple different of them, or actually all 3 of them, that they're celebrating something. Some people wrote, I wonder if it's just a regular meal or if it was some special occasion. Oh, that's a really good question. Looks like they are smiling. Some people wrote, ooh, the Brazil soccer team makes me think that they're celebrating a victory because they're holding a trophy and smiling. Yeah. So all of these actually talk about different cultures. Here we go. So great job, guys. I thought those were really good answers. Okay. So one of the things that each of these shows is actually a type of culture. Okay. So I want you to think about it first. Now, so you guys wrote a whole bunch of I wonders. I want you to think about what kinds of culture do you think is maybe shown? Do you think it is a culture with a group of people? Do you think it's a culture with a family? Do you think it's a culture with maybe even a whole country, or maybe they have an interest? And I don't write anything yet. I just want you to think about it. And what do you think the photos show you about the culture? So just think about, who is this culture for? Okay. I want you to think about, does it show you and tell you about the culture of people? Don't write anything yet. Just think. Okay. Would somebody like to share about one of them? Is there a culture that is, now that, I mean, some of you guys did talk about it before, but is there a specific culture that is shown first? So let's do that question first. Let's see, I saw Harper's hand first. Harper, is there a specific culture that you're seeing?
Well, Brazil national beach soccer team,
Mm-hmm.
they are celebrating with the whole country because they're like the national
Yeah.
soccer team.
Yeah.
So I think that their culture is the whole country.
Oh, beautiful. Nice response. Riley, do you have a culture that you think is being demonstrated and maybe with who?
Yeah, the 4th of July because many people can like the culture is for many people that want to celebrate and like it's like the when someone found like America, so they're celebrating it on 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like a culture of
Oh,
America.
beautiful. Okay. I think, my screen went away. Let's see. Greta, do you?
For the family eating, I think their culture might be just like their family,
Mm-hmm.
or like maybe they have a bigger family because there's like there might be their grandma sitting with them, so they might be like a bigger family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this one we talked about is probably the whole country, okay? And because it's probably, we know that it's national. 4th of July, we could probably assume this is just the United States because we know that the United States participates. Do other countries celebrate the 4th of July?
I know. No, they don't. Can I?
Why don't you think they do? Do other?
Say it.
Uh-huh.
No, because it was the like when they first found America, but maybe they would celebrate like when they first found their country, but like the 4th of July is just special for the USA.
Yeah, that's very important. A lot of people, it's surprising how many people think that other people have 4th of July, and they don't. Just the United States does. So this is just our culture with the United States. Now with the family one, yeah, somebody said, well, maybe it is just our maybe it's just a single family. So you could have a single family culture. So you could talk about maybe every evening in your family, you have a small dinner. Or maybe it's something that's bigger. Maybe it's could be a religious culture. So maybe they're meeting for Christmas. Or maybe it is a country culture and they're meeting for Thanksgiving. Okay. So we don't have a lot of information on this picture. So it actually could be a whole bunch of different things. Okay. Okay, so I want you next. We did these these words yesterday, right? If you look, we have some synonyms. I said synonyms, not like a cinnamon roll. But I would like you to add to your your notability yesterday. And I want you to, we've got culture, cultural beliefs, and values, and I want you to add to them. Okay? The synonym that we're going to talk about for culture, remember we talked about the way a particular group of people lives and understands the world. In the box under synonym, could you write customs, habits, and lifestyles? Customs, habits, and lifestyles. Okay? Now for cultural, we said of or relating to culture. Now, there isn't really a synonym. We could repeat it and say customs, habits, lifestyles, but you don't need to write anything. Under beliefs, we talked about yesterday how it is a strong opinion, idea, or believed to be true. So in your notability, write down for a synonym, opinion or ideas. Okay, so opinions or ideas. So beliefs again are opinions or ideas. Okay. And then our values, so looking at those photos, they're ideas about what is important and how to live in a way that is good or right. So some synonyms or examples are beliefs, principles, or morals. Okay, so you can write that down. Beliefs, principles, or morals. Beliefs, principles, or morals. Sorry, I'm just taking a screenshot of, tell me no if I can't. Otherwise, I'll assume. So you should have written.
I have something maybe for cultural. You could put like I mean like culture. You could put like their type of folk.
Oh.
Like because sometimes people in like England or something call their like relatives. Like,
Okay, so you could say, yeah, some examples might be based off your ancestors. That'd be awesome. If you would like to add that, that would be great. Okay, so in general today we're going to talk about culture. So that's why if you already looked at your homework, you might have noticed that we're going to talk about our culture today and tomorrow. So what does it mean to belong to a culture? So things that people that belong to a certain culture might do, that might include listening to, enjoying certain types of music, celebrating certain holidays, maybe an activity, and sometimes even religion is a part of that. So what we're going to really focus on today is how do cultural beliefs and values guide people? Because everybody, a lot of times, why they do something, even maybe do a job, or maybe why they go to maybe a religious service. So if you have church, or if you go to a mosque, or maybe why you celebrate a holiday, that is going to help you guide you of what you're going to do, or even activities. And then we're going to focus on how when we were originally a small country and we moved more to the West, how did those cultures really affect Native Americans? So Native Americans actually had their own culture. And if you've got brand new people coming in, sometimes they're going to share their culture with other people. Okay, does that make sense? Oop. Okay, so we're going to look at today. Ooh, Brielle said that it worked. So hopefully she will get in here. Okay, so our question today is we're going to kind of look at, we're going to start setting the scene of the westward expansion, and we're going to look at the Lewis and Clark expedition. Can anybody tell me have you guys heard of the Lewis and Clark expedition?
Yeah,
No.
I did. Yes, I have. Because I have read. We have a book of like famous women in our house, and Sacagawea is in there. So basically, the Lewis and Clark expedition is in there.
Oh, okay. Has anybody else heard of Lewis and Clark?
Me.
I have.
You have? Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Me. I have too.
Okay, awesome. So, what we're going to do, so basically, Lewis and Clark, so originally, if you look at this brown spot, this used to be the United States, okay? So we used to have...
I can't see your screen.
Oh, okay. That's a problem. I need to share it. Yes.
I have, if you have watched the movie Night at the Museum, in that movie, Sacagawea is in it, and she's talking to Lewis and Clark.
Exactly. So there's some things
I have too.
that you've seen or heard, because it was a huge part of our history. Originally, we were just in this brown area. Okay, so originally people moved in from England and the West, and what happened is this white part right here. So, and actually, I believe it was some of this blue part as well, but it was the majority of this white part. And this was the Louisiana Purchase. So what happened is, oh goodness, I can't remember who sold it. Anyway, the United States got to buy this, and I think it was only $1.
From the French.
Yeah, they bought, there you go,
From
it says from France, thank you. And I think they only bought it for like a couple dollars. It was super cheap, you guys. And so the French...
they bought it like 1 acre was about about a penny.
Yeah, it was super cheap. And I think, yeah, it was close to, it was, I think, under $100 to be able to to get that whole piece of land. Okay, so we bought this, and then we had Lewis and Clark, and with the help of Sacagawea or Sakakawea, it depends on how you pronounce it, and actually I think her child, as a guide, they explored this piece of land, and then the United States came to be this big piece of land. Okay, here, where am I? Sorry, I'm trying to flip back and forth between a whole bunch of different things, so I'm trying to find my notes and a bunch of other things. Ooh. So thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen.
Mrs. Rosinger.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
When Sacagawea died, Lewis and Clark adopted her children. Because it says that in the book that they adopted her children because it was like a thanks for helping them.
Yeah.
So they adopted her children when she died.
Yeah, exactly. And so, because, I mean, she helped her so much, or helped them so much get through. Now, this is a map of, and I wish there was a way you could see it a little bit bigger, but maybe you can zoom in your screen, I'm not sure. But these actually were the different tribes and different groups of native, not Indians. Indian actually is a name because Columbus thought he went to India, so Native Americans. Okay, if you look in Minnesota, we had the Ojibwe or the Chippewa or the Anishinaabe in this part, and then we had the Dakota that had this area in the plains. Okay, if you look, the different colors are different groups of people. And then the different, it looks like almost states again. These are different little tribes, okay? Actually, I am part of the Native American tribe, the Ojibwe tribe called the Louisiana Orales. And my tribe is actually from a place right here, just south of Wisconsin, or just south of Lake Superior, okay? So if you look at this map, we have our states, but this is originally what it used to look like, okay? Everything used to be broken up by Native Americans instead, okay? So I want you to think about if we have all these people that were here and now they're going to move into this spot, what do you think is going to happen to these people? Do you think their minds are going to change? Do you think who lives there is going to change?
Yeah, people are gonna like send them off to different places because they want more of the land.
Ooh, maybe they want more land. My tribe is called the Louisiana Orales. Anybody else? Why don't we raise our hand? What do you think might happen to these people when we have the Louisiana Purchase? So when people start moving, what do you think is gonna, well, actually, here's the question. How do you think their cultures are gonna change? Raise your hand. What do you think? Anybody have an idea? Jacob, what do you think?
I think that they would change because they would the people that are moving into the Louisiana Purchase, those people would kind of learn about the other people's culture.
Ooh.
And kind of adopt it, maybe.
Oh, okay. So maybe they will adopt that culture. Harper, do you want to add anything onto it?
I think that maybe it's gonna cause some sort of it might not be like a real war, but some sort of war between the Dakota and the Americans from the original 13 states.
Oh.
I think it's gonna they're not gonna want to leave because that's their land, but then the people who are already united, Americans, they're gonna want them to leave.
Ah, so maybe they're gonna force them out, push them out. Okay. Riley, do you have something to add onto it?
Yeah, because when Christopher Columbus, he pushed sort of them out, like what Harper and Jacob said. They're gonna took over the land or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to move to different places. But they said like they could go into smaller areas, which they had bigger areas, but they moved on.
Mm. So yeah, so we have this group of
I have
people.
an idea.
Oh, you have a group? Okay, yeah, Berkeley.
Maybe they'll like force them into a smaller area. Maybe that's a little more dangerous that they didn't want to go to because they thought maybe it would explode if they went over there or something like that. Like maybe they're forcing them over to more dangerous areas so they can have safer land.
Yeah. So yeah.
And also, I think in real life, that over like the last couple 20 years or something, the Native American land has gotten way smaller than what it used to be.
Yeah. So what they would do is they would overtake this land and they would push people out into this other land. Well, are other people living here? Yeah. So you're pushing people here to this land, and like Berkeley said, there might be more dangerous places. And actually their lifestyle might change. If you think about Minnesota, we've got a lot of woods over here. What happens when you push people that only live in woods and the flat plains into the Grand Canyon? Ooh. Or in the desert. The desert is over here. Or there's big mountains that go through here. Your food changes.
Yeah, maybe their like food supply is different, or like they're used to one land, except for they're forced over there and they don't know how to live over there, so they might like get not know how to live there. Like they adapted themselves when they first like were born there, and they like adapted themselves to that land, and then when they pushed over there, they have to like readapt their whole entire culture to a different one so that they can live there.
Yeah. So not only we said like the things they're going to hunt, but if you think about, we've got different plants, we've got people that live there. Maybe they're going, oh my gosh, there's somebody else coming to take our land, and it might be dangerous. Okay. The other thing is, do these people here, do they have the same religion as a lot of the Native Americans? Do they believe? So Native Americans, a lot of their culture and a lot of their thoughts are based off of the land. So for example, when they ended up hunting an animal, they thought the spirit ended up going somewhere. They thought that it ended up going back into the earth. They really took care of the land. Whereas a lot of our original people from England, the France, England, Spain, not too many Spain, but French and England, when they came over, they actually cleared a whole bunch of land and they ended up planting, making it into farmland. So it's very different. Their religion was very different. Like I said, Native Americans are very spiritual, where they had lots of different deities or gods. Whereas a lot of people from England and France, they only had the one God. They believed in Christianity. And so that culture was changed. How they eat, what religions they celebrate. Okay? I'm going to keep going, you guys. I know you've got some really good things, but I want to make sure we have a time to look at different things. So a word I want you to know, you don't have to write it down, is the word expansion. Okay, so expansion, as we've been using this, is this is the act of process of becoming larger. Actually, you know what? I do want you to add it to your document. So I want you to add it to your vocabulary. So I'm going to write here, expansion. And I want you to write it there as well. Expansion. And
Question.
yes.
Are we gonna read the Lewis and Clark together and do the culture family thing together? Or no.
We are going to read Lewis and Clark together eventually. Yep. So we've got the act of or process of becoming larger. Okay. The next word that I want you to write, that's going to be on the next page, we'll just do it since we're here, is impact. And that is the effect on something to make an impression on something or someone. Okay, so we've got 2 new words that we're adding to our vocabulary. While we're doing this, does anybody have another, and even in our definition we might have one. Does somebody have a synonym that we could use for expansion? I've got one, just spread. So something is expanding out, they're spreading apart. Do you have another example or a synonym we could use, you guys? You can just shout it out on the iPad.
Maybe large, because like they're large, meaning their amount of land that they have.
Beautiful. So I got
expand, or is that too close to?
You know, I'll write expand. It's the root word. That's the original root word. Ooh. So like spreading out, make larger, expand. Maybe we could say get bigger. Okay. Does anybody have a synonym for the word or an example on impact? Do you have a word impact? I want a new window. With the word impact.
Go back to notability real quick, because I didn't finish the expansion meaning.
Yep, I have it notability here. Impact. Ooh, so what if we say like, so we're not talking about impact like crashing and stuff. We're talking about something that is affecting. Ooh.
Important?
Ooh, so kind of something that's important. Yeah, so an importance. Void, I'm going to say importance. Okay. Or maybe an action. Okay. So we're not talking about something that's like impacting, like a rock impacting the window. We're talking about an effect. Okay. Or affect. So something that's important, or an action. Okay. So, or maybe the result. Okay, so if I'm moving to a new area, my impact is I'm forcing other people out. Awesome. Okay. Do I need to, can I continue on? Just tell me no if I can't, or write in the chat no if you need more time. Otherwise, I'm going to continue on. I will also post this on Schoology. Okay? Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to look at our text. Woohoo! We're going to look at the text. Lewis and Clark expedition. We already asked you a little bit if you knew about it. In English. I'm just writing myself a note to put that in our stuff. So we're going to look at the Lewis and Clark story. Now, so I'm going to ask you some various questions while we're doing it, or afterwards. And we have different types of questions that we are going to look at. Okay. We have go questions, okay, that they're really easily answers that we can find in the text. So that might be like who, Lewis and Clark, what, when, where. Yellow questions are ones that maybe you have to slow down and you have to find a little bit more in detail, okay? Or maybe you have to go back and reread something. Or we might have red questions. So these ones are going to be questions that aren't in the text. So maybe they're an opinion. Maybe you're thinking about the evidence. Ooh, so what did they say? And what could I maybe infer? Okay, so what could I maybe predict could happen? Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to open the Lewis and Clark expedition story. So I'm going to go on Notability, and we are going to read Lewis and Clark. And we are going to We're going to read it. If you would like to read, you can raise your hand. I have Harper and Berkeley who still have their hand up, so if you don't want to read, you can put it down. So if you'd like to read a paragraph, what I usually do is I start, and then I will pick somebody here to read a paragraph, okay? I just ask a minimum of a paragraph, okay? We'll just actually do a paragraph by paragraph. That way more people can read. So you can either follow along on your WebEx, or you can follow along in your own Notability. Handout 1A, the Lewis and Clark Expedition. The Lewis and Clark Expedition is the title. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to actually number these as we're going along. That way, when I'm talking about this later, you guys know what paragraph. Or, actually, so if you're doing this, I want you to number the paragraphs with me. So we got 1, 2. That way, when I say, look at number paragraph 4. Ooh. 3, 4, 5. And paragraph 5 goes on the next page. 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you should have 8 paragraphs. Okay, I'm going to start. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson guided a splendid piece of foreign diplomacy through the United States. Through the United States Senate. The purchase of the Louisiana Territory from France. After the Louisiana Purchase Treaty was made, Jefferson initiated an exploration of the newly purchased land and the territory beyond the Great Rock Mountains in the west. Berkeley, could you read paragraph 2, please?
Jefferson chose his personal secretary, Meriwether Lewis, an intelligent and literate man who also possessed skills as a frontiersman. Lewis, in turn, solicited to the help of William Clark, whose abilities as a draftsman and frontiersman were even stronger. Lewis so respected Clark that he made him a co-commanding captain of the expedition, even though Clark was never recognized by such the government. Together they collected a diverse military corps of discovery that would be able to undertake a 2-year journey to the great ocean.
Beautiful. Okay, my next person, Riley, could you read paragraph 3?
Jefferson hoped that Lewis and Clark would find a water route linking the Columbia and Missouri rivers. The water link would connect to the Pacific Ocean with the Mississippi River system, thus giving the new western land access to port markets out of the Gulf of Mexico to the eastern cities along the Ohio River, and in minor tributaries. At the time, American and European explorers had only penetrated what would become each end of the Lewis and Clark Trail up the Missouri, several miles to the trapper headquarters at the Fort of Mandan, and up the Columbia just a bit over 100 miles to a point little beyond present-day Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Harper, that is not, okay. Nope. What do I want? Okay, Harper, could you continue reading? Paragraph 4.
The Clark expedition paddled its way down the Ohio as it prepared the expedition to be launched officially from Camp Wood just outside St. Louis in the summer of 1804. That summer and fall, the company of explorers paddled and pulled themselves upstream, northwest on the Missouri River to Fort Mandan, a trading post where corps of discovery set up camp, wintered, and prepared for the journey to the Pacific.
Beautiful. Jacob, could you read paragraph 5?
When the spring of 1805 brought high water and favorable weather, the Lewis and Clark expedition set out on the next leg of its journey. They traveled up the Missouri to present-day Three Forks, Montana, wisely choosing to follow the western tributary, the Jefferson River. This route delivered the explorers to the doorstep of the Shoshone Indians, who were skilled at traversing the Great Rock Mountains with horses. Once over the Bitterroot Mountains, the corps of Discovery shaped canoe-like vessels that transported them swiftly downriver to the mouth of the Columbia, where they wintered 1805 to 1806 at Fort Clatsop on the present-day Oregon side of the river. With journals in hand.
Okay, I'll have Nora continue reading. And then Greta, number 7.
With journals in hand, Lewis, Clark, and the other members of the expedition returned to St. Louis by September 1806 to report their findings to Jefferson. Along the way, they continued to trade what few goods they still had with the Indians and set up diplomatic relations with the Indians. Additionally, they recorded their contact with the Indians and described, and at times drew, the shape of the landscape and the creatures of the Western world new to the white man. In doing so, they fulfilled many of Jefferson's wishes for the expedition. Along the way, William Clark drew a series of maps that were remarkably detailed, noting and naming rivers and creeks, significant points in the landscape, the shape of the river shore, and spots where the corps spent each night, or camped, or portaged for a longer period of time. Later explorers used these maps to further probe the western portion of the continent.
The expedition of Discovery shaped a crude route to the water Pacific and marked an initial pathway for the next nation to spread westward from ocean to ocean, fulfilling what would become to many Americans an obvious destiny.
Over the next 2 centuries, the new Americans and many immigrants would wash across the central and western portions of what would eventually become the contiguous 48 United States. This wave of development would significantly transform virgin forests and grasslands into a landscape of cities, farms, and harvested forests, displacing fauna such as the buffalo and squeezing the Indians who survived onto the reservations. Okay, awesome job. So what we're going to do next time we meet, tomorrow, if you look in our courses really quickly, you have a few more vocabulary. You've got a video to watch. I'm actually going to change this video. Let me know if you can't access this video, but I'm going to have you guys try watching this video, and then you've got a couple more vocabulary words, okay? You also, which you're going to start today, and we are going to talk about it when we meet again on Thursday, is we are going to talk about this family and culture web, okay? So this is going to be your homework. We're gonna look more at the article when we get back on Thursday as well, but we are also going to we're going to start discussing this. So you, within today and tomorrow, so this is going to be due Thursday, we're going to talk about it in class Thursday, so I hope you have it done, is I want you to think about your beliefs and values. What languages do you guys speak? What are some traditions and holidays maybe that are important to your family? Maybe, it could even be different to you. So for example, I grew up to be in a Christian household, but my brother, he doesn't actually believe in it. So maybe your beliefs are different than your family's, okay? Food. What is some food that's important in your culture? What are some gender roles? So maybe you still have to where females are doing a specific thing in your culture, and males are only able to do stuff. So for example, maybe you have a bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah. Those are separate depending on your genders. Maybe you have a religion that's important in your culture or in your family. If you don't with one of these, okay, I want you to explain maybe why not. Or maybe in the past, like I said, maybe my family might have believed something else and we just don't follow that anymore. Okay, so don't just leave them blank. I want you to explain maybe why you don't have that. Is there any music, art, dance, or songs that you guys have? Or is there any specific rules that maybe your family has? So for example, maybe, and some of them actually could be maybe a lot of, I'm trying to think of some gender ones. So maybe, grew up with somebody in school, because of their religion, they couldn't ever have tattoos. So those are kind of some different gender rules or just some rules in general that they can't have. So I want you to think about this, and this is going to be due on Thursday. So we're going to talk about this on Thursday. So if you finish it today or tomorrow, did I somehow just close that? You can turn it in under Family and Culture Web. Does that make sense? Okay. What questions do you guys have about?
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. What questions do you guys have about this? Any questions? Okay. The other thing when we come back, I'm going to tell you what we're going to look at. We're going to look at this document and we are going to, so we're going to review it again. We're going to look at what do you wonder about? What ideas or words? So I want you to you've got some time tonight too and tomorrow to look at some different things that maybe you're questioning about, some ideas or words that maybe confuse you or questions you have. Okay, so 2 things that on Thursday you're going to need to do. You're going to have to kind of glance through this, okay? Otherwise, you're going to have a chance to reread it again on Thursday, and you're going to have to complete this. Tomorrow, you are going to have to watch a video, and you're going to have to put these words in your vocabulary, okay? So you can put in the date. Actually, why don't we do the date right now? The date tomorrow will be 1-6. Okay? And you've got, I think, what is it, 5 words? Okay. Once you have done that, here I'm going to say module 1 here. For some reason,
So today what we're doing is that family thing.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
And we're going to look at that on Thursday. Okay. So once you put the date and you put module 1, because that's what you're going to do tomorrow, then you can leave. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day. You can start working. You can start working on this if you want. You've got 5 minutes.